What is up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin coming back with another video, and finally, yes, I am back at it. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so very much for supporting the Geeks and Gamers channel while I've been gone. I know that every single one of you have missed me and have especially missed that intro, but today we've got some pretty crazy news that broke just the other day, and that is that HBO Max is going to be hosting all of the 2021 Warner Brothers slate of films, including gigantic movies like Dune, 1984, Wonder Woman, which we already knew about, and also The Matrix 4, or as I like to call it, The Matrix that no one asked for. That all being said, before I jump into the news, please make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe and click the bell notification. That way you know every time a new video goes live on the channel. But let's go ahead and dive into this news from Variety. Hollywood theater owners sound off on Warner Brothers' bold HBO Max move. They're playing with fire. I guess the movie theaters will just be Halloween stores now? Ooh, that is indeed a harsh response. That was the glib response from a veteran studio executive on Thursday, joining a chorus of power brokers, agents, and other Hollywood insiders floored by the news that Warner Brothers Pictures will be releasing 17 movies, its entire 2021 slate, simultaneously in movie theaters and on the streaming service HBO Max. And so for anyone that missed the news the other day, I covered this on my channel a couple of times now, but just in case you don't know, HBO Max will host all of the films that were scheduled to come out from Warner Brothers. It will be therefore available, not for free, right? You have to pay the $15 or so a month for HBO Max, but if you have HBO Max, you get access to all 17 of those movies, including giant ones like Wonder Woman, like Dune, like Matrix 4, and like many others set to come out. And also, they will be coming out simultaneously in the theaters at the same time. Now, obviously, many theaters have spoken out against this because this is a really bad idea for when it comes to movie theaters, because what would you rather do? Would you rather stay at home in the comfort of your own home, pull up HBO Max on your Fire Stick, your Android device? Oh, wait a minute, you can't do it on Roku yet. HBO Max, seriously? Warner Brothers, get your act together and get your stuff working on Roku, because guess what? That's what the vast majority of people use for streaming devices, but that is neither here nor there. Or would you rather go out and risk your life, risk limb, risk life in general, because great Scott, everybody, it's doom and gloom out there. Everyone's gonna die. Not really, though. 99.9999999% chance of nothing happening to you, but that is the environment that is currently being built by mainstream media and others, of course. And so, basically, this is a move that's being done by Warner Brothers out of necessity, right? They want to see their numbers increase because every time you subscribe to their channel, not only does a fairy get its wings, but also they get that raw revenue. They do not split that revenue with anyone. It is all theirs to keep. And yes, sure, they're not going to be making nearly as much as they might have made in theaters, but the theaters are at a point now where people aren't going to them, that they wouldn't be making that money anyway. Of course, this is a completely self-defeating prophecy, because if you don't release movies, people don't come back, and then if people don't come back, then you're not going to want to release your movies. You see how this works? And they're trying to play this doublespeak, basically, where it's like, okay, we'll do this for now, and then we'll also release it in theaters. And don't worry, theaters, I'm sure the federal government and the taxpayers in the United States, I'm sure they'll, give you the money that we should be giving you by releasing our movies, and then you'll be fine, and then you'll get extra money, we'll get extra money, and then, hey, the consumer will not know any better. Well, we do know better, right? We have the internet now. We can look up these things. We have minds for ourselves and can think, which is why having independent media is so very important in today's day and age. But if you were hoping to see films like Dune on the big screen, well, hey, guess what? You can still see it on the big screen. That is, of course, if your local theater will be hosting it, because as they are being released simultaneously, both on HBO Max and in theaters, not every theater is going to carry it. I'm sure that there are going to be some companies, maybe an AMC, for instance, that's going to try and boycott, saying, oh, no, you do not play this game. You have to give us a pretty sweet deal. Because keep in mind, normally the way things work is that a movie gets released in theaters. Usually the period lasts for about 3 months or so, where it's exclusive in theaters. After that 3-month period, the contract goes up, and then the studio can put it out on demand services like Google, like iTunes, etc. And normally by that time, they're also getting ready to release their Blu-rays, their 4Ks, all that kind of stuff as well. This flips everything around because now it becomes instantaneously available online, which means it's going to be a lot easier for pirating the film. And also, it's going to be much easier for people just to say, oh yeah, I'll sign up for a free trial of HBO Max and get this free movie. Oh, wait a minute. Another big film's coming out next month? Well, I guess I'll pay another $15 because guess what? Not only does that $15 cover this movie, of which I would have already paid anyway by going out of my house into the dark oblivion of COVID, but also at the same time, I get to make my own popcorn. I don't have to spend a whole lot of money. I don't have to deal with broken bulbs or screaming kids or anything like that. So there are a lot of benefits that one can see as to why someone would rather watch a movie at home. Now, me, as you all know, I allegedly have a movie blog, and I like to watch movies, but I do prefer to watch them on the big screen. And as much as I would love to watch Dune on the biggest screen possible and to see it even in Dolby if they were able to have it, unfortunately, I don't have any Dolby theaters near me, I can totally understand why, according to, I guess the metrics that HBO and, Warner Brothers by extension we're looking at, we're saying, yeah, this is actually probably more financially beneficial for us to be able to do this and to be able to get this out here in this way, because more people have access to it. More subscriptions means more money for us, and we'll release it in theaters, and so the theaters that do decide to have it will get money from them. The question that I have, though, is what kind of contracts can we expect to see with the theaters? Because before, and I was before I went off on that tangent, was that the theaters would get only about 10% of the movie's ticket. So let's say you would pay $10 for a movie ticket, 90% of that, $9 of that 10 would go to the studio, while the theater would only keep $1 of that. And that's the reason why typically it costs so damn much for your popcorn and soft drinks, because the movie theaters have to keep up and have to make that money up somehow. By doing this and saying, oh, but don't worry, we'll still have it in theaters, now you're forcing theaters to have to do a couple of things. One, potentially they'll have to raise ticket prices, and then how could they compete? You go to the theater and spend $20 to $25, or you just get a subscription service to HBO Max, watch it at home, not actually have to leave your house, and also that $15 gives you access to a plethora of other films, TV shows, etc., not to mention there's more films coming down the line, so you can see that's a problem. Or I guess one other way you could handle it would be that, oh, let's raise the cost of our popcorn and soft drinks, which are already incredibly overpriced in the first place. So it's going to be very difficult for theaters to be able to deal with this. That is, of course, unless studios are willing to play ball with them and say, okay, you know how normally we would have that 90-10% split? Let's flip that on its head. Let's say, okay, we'll only keep 10% or we'll only keep 50% at least, right? Having a 50-50 split might make theaters more, amicable, might make them a little bit happier to go along with this deal. We saw similar deals happen, right, with Universal and AMC, where they said, okay, you'll have our movie out for 2 weeks in theaters exclusively. After 2 weeks, then we'll have it on PVOD, and they were able to work that out to do the best the best financial situation possible. But again, that's a big if on the studios, because it seems to me like Warner Brothers just wants to make as much money as possible, and if they have to kill the theaters in the process, they will. Here's the thing, though. It's just the American theaters that are going to be really negatively impacted, because as it says, same-day release, that means internationally, it's going to be the same kind of schedule, because those theaters, for the most part, are open. Those theaters, for the most part, are actually doing well. Go ahead and look to Japan. I actually did a box office breakdown that unfortunately was not able to get in on the channel because of just all the craziness of the news that's been happening recently. But I mentioned how there was a film there called Demon Slayer that is breaking records. It just surpassed Titanic over there in Japan. So they're seeing some of the best box office numbers they've seen in a long time. Literally, that film is just behind Spirited Away, which is considered to be one of the greatest animes of all time. So you have other markets that are doing incredibly well, where the theater market, especially the movie theaters, will stay strong probably for a long time. But here in the United States, when you have HBO Max, and I'm sure other studios and other streaming services might consider doing something like this as well, especially if HBO Max can show that they've made some decent profits for getting massive subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. Again, this could be a model going forward, and all that it does is it leaves theaters in the dust. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that movie theaters are dead? Again, I honestly think that you have this coming from these different studio chains now, and you have this coming, of course, from these different movie theater chains that are pretty mad. I mean, AMC especially was pretty ticked off. The CEO was just so pissed off, saying, "You have no idea what you're talking about here." Here's his actual comment here. It says, "Clearly, Warner Media intends to sacrifice a considerable portion of the profitability of its movie studio division and that of its production partners and filmmakers to subsidize its HBO Max startup. As for AMC, we will do all in our power to ensure that Warner does not do so at our expense. We will aggressively pursue economic terms that preserve our business. So again, they're going to try and make deals because, as it says right here, clearly they are willing to sacrifice all their relationships, everything, for the sake of profitability, but they might even be sacrificing profitability for this venture as well, because as I think AMC CEO points out, most of your revenue, Warner Brothers and other studios, comes from us, comes from studios like, theaters like ours hosting your movies, having those big box office tentpole events. And without us, and guess what? You're going to lose a lot more of us by doing things like this. Is that worth the risk? Obviously, that is something that HBO Max thinks it is. We'll see how it goes, but let me know your thoughts about this and everything else I mentioned in the comments section below. If you like this video, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe. Also, if you could check me out over on my humble channel, now labeled OMB Reviews. That's right, I've had a rebranding of sorts, OMB Reviews. And also, I have a news and politics channel now called the OMB Report. So if you could actually go over and subscribe to the OMB Report, that would actually be even better because that channel is slowly growing. It's been rebranded from the Welcome to Asgard channel, and it's kind of a Timcast-esque kind of channel, so if you like his kind of content, it's kind of similar. Difference being that I'm coming from it from an independent Catholic perspective, so probably a little bit more of the conservative side of it, at least according to these traditional terms. And so if that's the kind of content that you're interested in, go check out my videos over there, even though my most recent video got messed up because of OBS, and it sounds echoey and all that kind of stuff, but the content, I think, is up there with what my normal work is, and that means some of you will love it, and some of you, I'm sure, will hate it. Anyway, you guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.